Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished speakers, esteemed attendees, the organizers of IFR, thank you so much for having me here today. It's an absolute pleasure to be addressing such a vibrant audience such as yourselves here. My name is Abdalla Kablan. I'm a technologist and the founder of a number of companies specializing mainly but not exclusively in AI and machine learning and their application in fintech. I'm also an academic, lecturing and researching topics such as deep learning, algorithmic trading, and computational finance. And I also advise the government of Malta on matters related to digital innovation and blockchain technology. This is the first time I ever address a sporting event, so it's such a great honor, and thank you so much again for having me here today. And I'll keep it to fintech or financial technology, but I think when we speak about fintech, the main keyword here is actually technology, because like many other sectors, whether it's health, education, gaming, or finance, technology is disrupting it quite heavily. We have health tech, we have edutech, we have game tech, we have fintech, obviously, but fintech is very particular because when it comes to finance, for the past 2,000 years, finance has always been disrupted from within. Since the very first ever financial transaction recorded in history around 2,000 years ago in olden day Sumeria, which is modern day Iraq, and a grain contract was recorded. And since then, innovation within the financial sector has happened within, until quite recently in 2008 when the financial crisis hit, and it was quite a bad crisis, probably the worst crisis in history. And financial firms were really busy dealing with their own mess and forgot a bit about innovation. That coincided with a time where the internet came to prominence, where tech giants actually grew even bigger. And we live in a time now where Facebook recently has just got licensed to transfer money, to allow us to transfer money using Facebook Messenger. Amazon just got licensed to give student loans. So the big tech giants actually started moving and taking the lunch money of financial companies because they are empowered by their cutting-edge technologies, and the financial industry remained behind. And if you think about it, if you take, for example, banking is based on three main pillars: deposits, transfers, and loans. Nowadays, you can go and deposit money on your Revolut or on your PayPal account, transfer money using TransferWise, and go to a peer-to-peer lending platform and get a loan. So even though people will always need the process of banking, they do not necessarily need the bank. All these fintech startups are actually moving into the market of companies or financial institutions that have traditionally serviced people in a specific way, but now using technology and innovation, these new companies are actually providing a bigger, better, more agile service. And the consumer type is also changing. People are not getting any younger, so all these millennials are actually growing older, but millennials are used to a particular type of service. They're used to look at their mobile phones and actually getting instant gratification through all these apps that they're using. And I was reading some very interesting statistics recently. One statistic said that more than 74% of millennials are much more excited about a financial product being launched by Apple or Google than the same product being launched by their own bank. An even funnier statistic said that more than 75% of millennials would rather go to the dentist than speak to a human financial advisor. And that says quite a lot about this current state of the new consumer and the older industry. So disruption is happening at a very fast pace. And if you think about it also, throughout history, for any economy or civilization to thrive, you need two things: a system of trade and a store of value. System of trade could be exchanging, bartering, payment, and the store of value could be assets, commodities, gold, silver, money, or cryptocurrency. Without going into the philosophical argument of fiat or money versus cryptocurrencies, if you think about it, the world's biggest currency or the world's most adopted fiat currency is US dollar is based on nothing but a promise from a government that's currently mired in $20 trillion in debt. So even though in God we trust, you really should rethink trusting that green piece of paper that we have there. And that introduces other avenues of how we can have these stores of value. And we're still at the very start, we're still at the very initial stages of these new disruptive technologies, which is why it's quite exciting to be here in Malta now, because Malta is officially the first country in the world to regulate technology arrangements and services, starting from DLT, decentralized ledger technology, out of which blockchain is an architecture, and with a vision to move into artificial intelligence and machine learning eventually. But the reason why this is a pivotal moment in human history is because we are at a stage where innovation has forced us to come up with regulation. Malta was one of the first countries to actually move into that space and regulate it. And that's how the idea of Delta Summit was born, is to celebrate the fact that Malta is actually the pioneering country, the trailblazer in this particular sector, and bring the world's top thought leaders, innovators, pioneers, thinkers, to come to Malta and share their ideas, visions, insights, and strategic foresight about how this industry is going to evolve in the future. Bring some of the world's biggest companies and corporations that are acting in this space, some companies which have already decided to move to Malta because of this new regulatory and legal certainty that Malta has provided, and other companies that are actually thinking about moving to Malta, or other companies that are operating elsewhere but are quite curious about what we've done here in Malta. And what Malta has done is quite unique, because even though it's regulated this space, and trust me, as a technologist, I really don't like the word regulation, but it is necessary in this space, especially since we found the perfect balance here in Malta without that we have not stifled innovation. So the regulation that Malta has come up with is technically a regulation of engineers by engineers, because it takes into its core values customer protection, investor protection, but also technical definitions that are quite important, because technology is changing on a constant basis. So I invite you all to be at Delta Summit. It is going to happen next week between the 3rd and 5th of October. Those of you who have already decided to come there, I genuinely look forward to see you there. Those who haven't decided yet, I encourage you to do. If not, we're going to live broadcast it on Facebook, so stay tuned. Thank you so much.